In the year 2205, Earth had become a shadow of its former glory. The once thriving planet, home to billions of people, had been reduced to a battleground. Decades of war, economic collapse, and the relentless expansion of alien empires had left the Earth fractured and struggling to survive. The alien overlords, a coalition of ruthless species who had once seen humanity as a curiosity, now regarded them as a pest to be wiped out. Entire cities were obliterated, nations fell under foreign occupation, and Earth's defenders, scattered and broken, were crushed beneath the heel of their invaders. Amidst the chaos, a leader rose who would change the course of humanity's destiny. Captain Nadia Thornton, a former military commander who had witnessed firsthand the brutality of the alien forces, had been quietly gathering a force to oppose their rule. Born in the heart of the crumbling United States, Nadia had seen the devastation wrought by the alien invasion, the massacres of civilians, the forced labor camps, and the fall of the government. But she also saw something else: humanity's unbreakable will to survive. For years, Nadia had fought as part of an underground resistance, launching guerrilla attacks against alien supply lines and staging hit-and-run raids against their occupying forces. Her tactics were brutal but effective, exploiting every advantage that the Earth's shattered military could offer. However, it wasn't enough. Humanity needed something more, a symbol of hope, a rallying point for the millions of people living under the oppressive rule of the aliens. That symbol arrived in the form of a single, daring mission. Nadia and her small team of elite soldiers infiltrated an alien cruiser, a massive, heavily armed vessel designed for both combat and transport. The mission was simple: sabotage the ship's systems and steal any technology they could find, especially anything related to faster-than-light, FTL, travel. The galaxy was vast, and humanity's enemies held the stars, but if Earth could develop the technology to travel between them, it would level the playing field. The mission was a long shot. The alien cruiser was heavily guarded, and the risks of failure were catastrophic. But Nadia and her team succeeded. Not only did they destroy a significant portion of the alien fleet, but they also managed to steal the FTL drive technology, the most coveted advancement in the galaxy. With that one stroke, humanity gained a powerful weapon, the ability to travel faster than the speed of light, and the opportunity to strike back against their enemies on a much larger scale. News of the raid spread like wildfire across the broken Earth. For the first time in decades, humanity had a fighting chance. Nadia, now hailed as a hero and symbol of defiance, became the face of the resistance. With the stolen technology, human engineers and scientists were able to reverse-engineer the alien FTL drive, opening the door to interstellar travel. But the alien empires were not blind to humanity's growing defiance. In response to this bold act, the ruling alien races convened a council, deciding that humanity's rebellion could not be tolerated. The minor skirmishes, the sabotage, and the occasional ambush, these were all annoyances. But humanity's ability to travel between the stars, their sudden access to the galaxy's vast resources, and their sheer persistence had now become a threat. As they prepared to send fleets to Earth to quell the rebellion once and for all, they underestimated one crucial thing: humanity's drive to survive, to prove itself. They had thought that after centuries of subjugation, humanity would fall into line, content with the scraps the aliens provided. They were wrong. The first skirmishes of humanity's spacefaring resistance began when Nadia's forces launched their first successful strike against an alien colony. It was a small victory, but one that sent ripples throughout the galaxy. The human rebels, using advanced tactics, salvaged alien technology, and guerrilla warfare, began to chip away at the alien invaders' dominance. Each victory, no matter how small, was a testament to humanity's unyielding resolve to reclaim their place in the stars. From Earth, the battle spread to nearby colonies as humanity fought not just for survival, but for the right to exist, to carve out a place for themselves in a universe that had long considered them insignificant. But what the aliens didn't know was that this rebellion, sparked by a few determined individuals, was only the beginning. Nadia Thornton had started a fire that would soon engulf the entire galaxy, and no empire, no matter how mighty, would be able to extinguish it. The stage was set. Humanity's fight for the stars had begun, and the universe was about to learn the true meaning of defiance. After humanity's daring raid on the alien cruiser, the rebellion grew stronger with every passing day. But with their newfound FTL technology, the fight quickly moved beyond Earth's atmosphere. Nadia Thornton, now a general in the rapidly forming resistance, knew that Earth itself could not sustain the rebellion forever. The alien empires would soon turn their full attention to their home planet, and if the rebellion was to stand a chance, they needed to secure their future among the stars. The first major space operation was a desperate strike to secure a strategic point, a refueling station located near the outer rim of the galaxy. The station was part of a larger galactic network controlled by the alien conquerors, a vital link in the interstellar trade routes they used to maintain their dominance. If humanity could take control of the station, they would gain both a foothold in deep space and a valuable resource for their fleet. Nadia's fleet, now made up of several hundred ships, ranging from converted cargo freighters to stolen alien warships, prepared for their first full-scale engagement with the enemy. Despite the technological advantage humanity had gained, their fleet was still untested, and their ships were vastly outclassed by the alien armadas that regularly patrolled the sector. But Nadia's tactical brilliance had already proven itself, and she was determined to take this risk. The operation, codenamed Starfall, began in the dead of night, with the rebel fleet dropping out of FTL travel in the shadow of the refueling station. For a moment, the fleet sat in silence, hidden from the alien sensors by the station's cosmic interference field. Nadia knew that the element of surprise would be their greatest weapon. With a swift strike, they could seize the station before the alien forces had time to mount a defense. As soon as the command was given, the fleet moved into position. Human pilots, trained in guerrilla tactics and improvisation, darted across the station's perimeter, launching assault teams to secure key control points. The alien defenders, slow to respond, scrambled to mobilize their defenses. But they were out of their element, and Nadia knew that if they could hold their ground long enough, reinforcements from Earth's colonies would arrive. The battle for the refueling station was brutal. Alien warships, sleek and massive, bore down on the human fleet, their energy weapons lighting up the dark expanse of space. Human ships, far less maneuverable and underpowered, relied on hit-and-run tactics, using the station's structure to shield themselves from the alien fire. It was a dance of death, and every moment brought a new challenge. At the heart of the conflict, Captain Nadia Thornton led her flagship, the Vanguard, through the chaos. The Vanguard, a modified alien cruiser, was now humanity's strongest vessel. It had been stripped of its alien weaponry and refitted with Earth-made armaments, but its most valuable asset was its captain. Nadia's strategic brilliance was unmatched, and she was already thinking 3 steps ahead. "Focus fire on the enemy command vessel," she ordered. "Take out their leader, and the rest will fall." The human fleet concentrated their fire on the alien flagship, a towering behemoth that commanded the sector. The alien captain aboard the vessel retaliated fiercely, but the Vanguard's superior maneuvering and human ingenuity allowed it to slip through the alien lines and deliver a devastating blow. The alien flagship was crippled, its shields failing and its weapons systems silenced. For the first time in centuries, humanity had forced an alien force to retreat. As the alien fleet regrouped, Nadia seized the opportunity. The human fleet launched a final assault on the refueling station's central core, igniting a chain reaction that crippled the station's infrastructure. The rebels, now in control of the station, were forced to retreat before the explosion could consume the entire area. It was a victory, but a costly one. The human fleet suffered heavy losses, and the station itself would need months to become fully operational again. Despite the heavy casualties, the mission was a success. Humanity had achieved the impossible, an overwhelming victory against a superior alien force, and they had secured a foothold in the stars. The refueling station would allow them to resupply, build more ships, and support their growing fleet. The battle sent shockwaves through the galaxy, and word of humanity's victory spread to other alien empires. The alien overlords, previously dismissive of humanity, began to take notice. This insignificant, primitive species had just bested one of their greatest fleets. For the first time in centuries, the balance of power had shifted, and the galaxy was beginning to see the spark of humanity's rise. But the alien empires were not content to sit idly by. They would retaliate, and their retribution would be swift and brutal. The war for the stars was far from over, and the next battle would be even more deadly. Yet, for the first time in centuries, humanity stood united and resolute, knowing that they had proven their worth to the galaxy, and that their fight had only just begun. In the wake of the hard-won victory at the refueling station, humanity's resolve only grew stronger. The rebels had proven themselves capable of standing toe-to-toe with the alien superpowers, and their recent success sent ripples through the galaxy. Allies, long hesitant to join the fight, now began to reach out, offering their support to the human cause. Entire human colonies scattered across distant star systems, some of them isolated for decades, sent reinforcements. The rebellion was beginning to take on the shape of an interstellar resistance, a rising empire that had once been nothing more than a fractured remnant of humanity. However, this newfound strength brought with it its own challenges. As humanity's forces expanded, so too did internal divisions. Political factions, each with their own vision for the future of the human race, began to surface. Some advocated for a more democratic, egalitarian society, while others pushed for a more authoritarian empire, modeled after the old-world powers that had once ruled Earth. While Nadia Thornton remained the unifying figurehead, even her authority began to be questioned by some of her own commanders. It was clear that the unity that had sustained them so far could not be taken for granted. It was in this environment of fragile alliances and ideological divisions that the first great betrayal occurred. The rebel fleet had received intelligence about an enemy supply convoy, an alien armada transporting vital resources from a nearby star system to their home base. Capturing or destroying this convoy would cripple the aliens' ability to sustain their forces, potentially shifting the balance of the war in humanity's favor. Nadia and her top commanders approved the mission, and the fleet, bolstered by fresh reinforcements, was ready to strike. What they didn't know was that one of their allies, Admiral Elias Kor, a charismatic leader of a powerful human colony from the distant Koroth system, was playing a dangerous game of his own. Kor had long coveted the power and prestige that would come with controlling the future of humanity. Though he had pledged loyalty to the rebellion, he secretly harbored ambitions of his own. The idea of an empire led by Nadia Thornton, though appealing to many, was not his vision for the future. Kor envisioned a human-led federation, a loose collection of systems where power was decentralized and governed by councils rather than a single autocrat. Kor saw Nadia's growing influence as a threat to his own ambitions and quietly began to conspire with factions who believed that humanity's future could be better served by a different kind of government, one that was more aligned with the ideals of freedom and autonomy, rather than military rule. As the human fleet closed in on the alien convoy, Kor made his move. Without warning, he diverted his fleet to intercept the convoy himself, ostensibly to secure the prize for humanity's war effort. But Kor's true intentions were darker. Rather than attacking the convoy, he had secretly negotiated with the aliens for a peace treaty, one that would grant him control of certain human colonies in exchange for ceasing hostilities against the alien forces. He saw this as a pragmatic step toward securing a prosperous future for humanity, albeit at the cost of betraying the rebellion. The plan, however, was disastrous. Kor's fleet arrived too early, and the aliens, rather than agreeing to peace, saw an opportunity to turn the tables. They ambushed Kor's fleet, annihilating much of it in a brutal surprise attack. Worse still, they used Kor's betrayal as a propaganda tool, broadcasting his secret negotiations with the alien leaders across the galaxy. To the rest of humanity, it seemed like Kor had been a traitor all along. When news of the ambush reached Nadia and the main fleet, the blow was felt deeply. The loss of Admiral Kor's fleet, a strategic loss that could have turned the tide in their favor, was a hard blow to bear. Worse, Kor's actions had caused a rift in the rebellion's leadership. Many of his former followers, disillusioned by his betrayal, began to question the motives of other human factions. Could they trust each other? Was this the first of many such betrayals? Nadia knew that the rebellion could not afford to fracture at this critical juncture. She immediately set a course for the site of the ambush, determined to rescue what remained of Kor's fleet and recover the mission. But when she arrived, the situation was far worse than she had anticipated. Kor's fleet was all but destroyed, and the few ships that remained were scattered, many of them disabled. The aliens had left behind a brutal message: humanity was not to be underestimated, but they were to be feared. Nadia was forced to make a painful decision. She had to confront the truth: Kor's betrayal was not just a personal failure, but a setback for the entire rebellion. She ordered the remaining survivors of Kor's fleet to fall back and regroup, and she took full responsibility for the failure, despite the personal betrayal. The loss, however, did not break humanity's spirit. It tested them, forcing the rebellion's leadership to unite even further. While some factions were shaken, others rallied to Nadia's cause. She knew that the road ahead would be long and fraught with internal conflict, but one thing was clear: humanity had come too far to stop now. The galaxy would soon understand that even when betrayed, humanity would rise again, stronger, more determined, and unyielding. After the devastating betrayal of Admiral Kor, the rebellion was on the brink of collapse. The loss of an entire fleet, the destruction of vital resources, and the alien forces' near-total victory in the ambush had left humanity reeling. But in the darkest hours, when all seemed lost, a new sense of unity began to emerge among the Resistance's leadership. Nadia Thornton, determined not to let Kor's treason define their future, took a bold step. She called for an emergency summit of all the human factions still loyal to the cause. From the outer colonies to the rebel strongholds on Earth, delegates gathered in the most secure part of the human fleet, the Elysium, a ship refitted from an ancient warship that had once belonged to Earth's military forces. With the galaxy watching, it was crucial to show that humanity could withstand the betrayals of its own and continue its fight for freedom. The summit began in tense silence. Leaders from across the human systems arrived, some with weary faces, others filled with bitterness. The events of the past weeks had taken their toll, and the rift between the factions seemed insurmountable. There were those who argued that Nadia had failed in her leadership, while others believed that Kor's betrayal had been a sign of humanity's inherent flaws, a weakness the aliens would exploit. But Nadia stood firm, her unwavering resolve inspiring those who had gathered to listen. "I know the pain of betrayal," Nadia began, her voice echoing through the chamber, "but I will not let the actions of one man determine our fate. We cannot afford division, not when the stakes are higher than ever. The galaxy sees us as weak, fractured, unworthy of survival. But if we are to rise above, we must do so together." Her words, though simple, struck a chord with the assembly. The weight of the decision before them was immense: either they would come together and forge a united front against the alien empires, or they would splinter and risk extinction. It was Admiral Alara Wren, a seasoned commander who had fought alongside Nadia in the early days of the rebellion, who stood next. She was the leader of one of the most powerful fleets in the rebellion, and her loyalty to Nadia was unwavering. "The universe sees us as insignificant," she said. "But we've already proven them wrong. Humanity has the will to survive, and that's more than any alien empire can claim. We cannot let Kor's betrayal be our undoing. We have a chance, but only if we stand together." Her words sparked a wave of agreement, and the tide began to turn. Slowly, the once hostile factions began to speak, offering their support to Nadia and the cause. The division that had nearly torn humanity apart was being healed in that very room, and for the first time since the fall of Earth, there was a sense of hope, a shared understanding that the only way forward was through unity. Over the course of several days, the summit worked tirelessly to hammer out a new strategy, one that would rebuild the human fleet, strengthen their alliances, and ensure that no single leader or faction could ever threaten their collective future again. Nadia's vision of a unified human empire, one that was both strong and just, began to take shape. No longer would humanity be at the mercy of alien powers; they would forge their own destiny. But it wasn't just about military strategy. It was about morale, about inspiring a broken people to believe in themselves again. Nadia knew that the rebellion could not succeed by force alone. It had to be about something greater, the idea that humanity, a species that had once been a fledgling race on a small, insignificant planet, had the power to shape the future of the galaxy. The rebellion needed a symbol. It needed a leader. And so, in a historic move, the summit declared Nadia Thornton as the Supreme Commander of the Unified Human Federation, a title that united all the human factions under a single banner. The formation of this new, unified command structure was symbolic, a beacon to the galaxy that humanity was no longer fractured and vulnerable. With the summit concluded, Nadia and her commander set their sights on the next phase of their campaign, striking at the heart of the alien empires. The success of their next operation would show the galaxy that humanity, once underestimated and on the brink of destruction, had now become a force to be reckoned with. The first target, the highly fortified alien capital on the edge of the galaxy, an empire stronghold that had long been a symbol of their unchecked power. Humanity would no longer cower in the shadows. They would take the fight to the heart of their enemies and show them that the human race, forged through struggle and betrayal, was an unstoppable force. But even as they prepared for the next great battle, Nadia couldn't shake the feeling that the aliens were not just reacting to their growing power, they were adapting. It was as if they were learning from every conflict, and soon, they would be ready for humanity's next move. The fight for the galaxy was far from over, but now, with a unified front and a clear sense of purpose, humanity's will to survive had been transformed into something greater, the will to conquer. The unified human fleet, now a formidable armada, set its sights on the alien capital, the seat of the empire that had been the greatest obstacle to humanity's survival. Located on the edge of the galaxy, the capital was a heavily fortified stronghold, surrounded by layers of defense so advanced that many believed it was impenetrable. But humanity, united and resolute, had no choice but to strike at the heart of the beast if they were to prove themselves as more than just a fleeting rebellion. Nadia Thornton, standing on the command deck of the Elysium, reviewed the plans for the assault. The decision to attack the alien capital had not been made lightly. This was not just a strategic strike, but a bold statement to the galaxy. If humanity could destroy or incapacitate the alien seat of power, it would send a shockwave across the universe, signaling that no empire, no matter how ancient or powerful, was beyond reach. The attack plan was both daring and dangerous. The fleet would take the long way around the outer rim, entering the capital system through a narrow channel in space that was largely uncharted. The element of surprise would be their greatest advantage, but it also meant that they would be traveling through an area known to be rife with alien traps, cloaked mines, and ambush points. As the fleet approached the alien capital system, Nadia received word from her intelligence officers. "Supreme Commander," said one of the officers, "we've detected an anomaly on the far side of the system. It's a trap. The aliens have anticipated our route." Nadia's heart sank, but she didn't hesitate. "We press on," she said firmly. "We've come too far to turn back now. Rally the fleet, and prepare to engage. We'll turn their trap against them." Within minutes, the fleet moved into position, the human ships powering up their weapons as they entered the ambush zone. The first wave of alien warships, sleek and menacing, emerged from their hidden positions. Their numbers were overwhelming, and their firepower was immense. But humanity's fleet, battle-hardened and united like never before, was ready. The battle raged in the cold vastness of space, a brutal and unforgiving fight where every maneuver could mean the difference between life and death. Humanity's ships, though smaller and less advanced than the alien behemoths, had a key advantage: their creativity and adaptability. While the aliens relied on brute force and overwhelming numbers, the humans used their ships' superior agility, their knowledge of alien tactics, and their ruthless ingenuity. Captain Alara Wren, commanding the vanguard, led her ship through the chaos, expertly evading the alien fire and striking with precision. Her fleet followed suit, each ship in perfect formation as they executed daring maneuvers to confuse and overwhelm the alien forces. The aliens, accustomed to dealing with static, predictable opponents, found themselves caught off guard by the unpredictability of humanity's tactics. But the aliens were not idle. As the battle raged on, their reinforcements arrived, massive capital ships that dwarfed the human vessels. Their overwhelming size and firepower threatened to wipe out the human fleet in a single, devastating blow. Yet, Nadia had anticipated this, and as the aliens moved to crush the human resistance, she ordered her fleet to scatter, drawing the alien ships away from the core of the battle. Nadia's plan was simple but risky: split the enemy forces and strike at their weakest link. She knew that the key to victory lay not in overwhelming force, but in exploiting the alien weakness for tactical flexibility. The human fleet executed a daring retreat, drawing the aliens into the depths of a nearby asteroid field. The dense clusters of rock and debris created a natural labyrinth, perfect for ambushes. As the alien ships pursued, the human fleet used their superior speed and maneuverability to launch surprise attacks from the shadows of the asteroids. It was here, in the heart of the asteroid field, that the turning point of the battle came. The human fleet, now scattered and fighting in smaller groups, used their superior knowledge of the terrain to outmaneuver the alien behemoths. Small human ships darted in and out of the asteroid field, launching torpedo salvos at the alien ships' vulnerable points, while larger rebel ships targeted the alien fleet's command vessels. Nadia, leading the charge, locked on to the alien flagship, a colossal vessel that had been directing the battle. It was surrounded by a ring of smaller warships, forming a nearly impenetrable barrier. But the alien ships were so focused on the main human fleet that they didn't see the Vanguard and its accompanying vessels slip into position, ready to deliver the final blow. In a move that would become legendary, Nadia ordered a full assault on the flagship, her fleet surging forward in a concentrated strike. The alien vessel, unable to respond quickly enough, was overwhelmed by the sheer ferocity of the human attack. It exploded in a fiery inferno, sending shockwaves through the remaining alien forces. With their flagship gone, the aliens lost their command structure, and the remaining warships faltered. Within hours, the alien fleet had been decimated. The battle was won, but the cost was great. Humanity's fleet had suffered significant losses, and many ships had been severely damaged. But the symbolic victory, the destruction of the alien capital's flagship, was a moment of triumph. It was a victory that resonated across the galaxy, proving to both allies and enemies alike that humanity, against all odds, had claimed a decisive victory in the heart of the alien empire. In the aftermath of the battle, Nadia stood on the deck of the Elysium, watching as the debris from the fallen alien ships drifted in the void. The galaxy had just witnessed humanity's strength, but the fight was far from over. There were more battles to be fought, and the alien empires would not rest. But humanity had proven one undeniable truth: no matter how powerful the enemy, they could be defeated. And with each victory, humanity's future in the stars became more certain. In the wake of humanity's victory over the alien capital, the galaxy was forever changed. News of the destruction of the alien flagship spread like wildfire, and for the first time, the galaxy's empires began to take humanity seriously. The rebellion, once seen as a ragtag collection of desperate survivors, had become a formidable force, a power that could no longer be ignored. But as humanity's reputation grew, so did the pressure on its leaders. The next steps were critical, and they could either solidify humanity's future or tear it apart. Nadia Thornton, now the Supreme Commander of the Unified Human Federation, knew that the battle for the galaxy was far from won. The alien empires, though shaken by the loss, would regroup. They had vast resources, and their military might was still enormous. Even with their flagship destroyed, the aliens were not broken. They would not stop until humanity was crushed once and for all. The rebellion's leaders convened in the war room aboard the Elysium, their strategic headquarters and flagship. The mood was grim, despite the victory. The human fleet had suffered heavy losses in the last battle, and resources were stretched thin. The next phase of the war needed to be carefully planned, but the question remained: where would humanity strike next? "We've shown them we can defeat them on their home turf," Admiral Alara Wren said, her voice steely as she examined the holographic map of the galaxy. "But now we need to think beyond just striking at their fleets. The war isn't just about defeating their ships. It's about breaking their resolve. If we want to win this war, we need to hit them where it hurts." Nadia nodded, considering Alara's words. The aliens rely on their vast resources, their control over the galaxy's trade routes, and their ability to maintain an iron grip on their colonies. If we can cripple their economic infrastructure, we can shake their foundation. But there was a complication. The alien empires were vast, with an array of colonies scattered across the galaxy. Striking at their economic heart meant taking on well-defended planets and heavily fortified supply chains. The rebellion's fleet, though strong, would not be able to launch a sustained campaign across such a vast area without reinforcements. They needed new allies, more than just the scattered human factions and resistance groups. They needed entire systems that could stand with them, forces that would challenge the might of the alien empires on a galactic scale. As if on cue, a message arrived from the outer colonies, from one of the galaxy's most powerful independent factions, the Terrian Collective. The Terrians were an ancient race, known for their advanced technology and fierce independence. They had kept their distance from the galactic conflicts, but the destruction of the alien flagship had caught their attention. They were offering an alliance. "This is the opportunity we've been waiting for," Nadia said, her eyes lighting up. The Terrians were formidable allies, their fleet far more advanced than humanity's, and their resources could tip the balance in the rebellion's favor. But trusting the Terrians would not be easy. They had a reputation for being secretive and calculating, and they had made it clear that they would not fight humanity's war for them. This alliance would be a partnership, and humanity would need to prove it was worth their trust. The decision was made to send an envoy to the Terrian homeworld, to formalize the alliance. Nadia, ever the diplomat, selected Captain Alara Wren to lead the envoy. The journey would be long, and the risks high. The Terrian homeworld was located deep within contested space, surrounded by hostile empires and well-defended borders. The diplomatic mission could easily turn into a deadly encounter, but the potential rewards were too great to ignore. As the envoy ship, the Aegis, departed for the Terrian homeworld, Nadia prepared for the next phase of the rebellion's campaign. She knew that while the Terrians might offer critical support, the ultimate challenge would lie in gaining the trust of the galaxy's other factions. The rebellion's victory had proved that humanity was a force to be reckoned with, but it had also painted a target on their backs. If humanity was to truly secure its place in the galaxy, it would have to prove itself not only to the alien empires, but to every species that called the stars home. The battle for survival had turned into a war for supremacy. The rebellion could no longer afford to fight alone, it needed allies, and it needed them quickly. The Terrians were just the first step. But there was no guarantee that the other empires would look kindly on a growing human alliance. Humanity's path to victory would be paved with hard choices, difficult alliances, and a relentless drive to outmaneuver those who would stand in their way. Meanwhile, in the heart of alien space, the ruling council of the alien empires convened to discuss the new threat. The loss of their flagship had shaken them, but it had also strengthened their resolve. The human rebellion was a problem that could no longer be ignored, and they would need to act quickly before humanity's newfound alliances could become a serious challenge. "We have underestimated them," said an alien general, his voice cold and calculating. "We must learn from our mistakes. Humanity is no longer a fleeting threat, they are a force that must be crushed." The countdown to the final conflict had begun, and the galaxy was bracing itself for the inevitable clash between the alien empires and the rising human empire. The war had reached its boiling point. Humanity, now allied with the Terrian Collective and other dissident factions, had become a force the galaxy could no longer ignore. The once fractured rebellion had coalesced into a unified, determined empire, and with each victory, the humans grew bolder. Yet, as the human fleets advanced deeper into enemy-controlled space, the alien empires were preparing for their own final stand. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the fate of the galaxy. Nadia Thornton stood at the center of the war room aboard the Elysium, gazing over the holographic map of the galaxy. The combined humanitarian forces had secured multiple key systems, cutting off the alien empires from vital resources and trade routes. But this had all been a prelude to the final conflict, the decisive battle to take control of the galactic capital, where the alien empire's leadership would make their last stand. The alien forces, united and more desperate than ever, were converging on the capital system. The human alliance was outnumbered, but it had the one advantage that had allowed them to survive so far, the sheer determination to fight for their place among the stars. And now, with the support of the Terrians, humanity had the firepower to challenge the might of the alien fleets head-on. "We've reached the edge of their defenses," Admiral Alara Wren reported. "The capital system is within striking distance. We'll need to break through their outer defenses before we can get to the heart of their stronghold." Nadia nodded. The next few days would be the most dangerous yet. The aliens were ready to fight to the last ship, and the battle would be long and brutal. But there could be no turning back now. Humanity's future depended on this final push. The Elysium, along with the rest of the fleet, moved into position, its engines humming with anticipation. The battle was about to begin. The first wave of the assault was swift and devastating. Human and Terrian warships, united in purpose, collided with the alien fleet in a cataclysmic clash of firepower. The skies were filled with blinding explosions as plasma bolts streaked through the blackness of space, and the once proud alien ships were torn apart by the relentless assault. But for every alien vessel destroyed, two more seemed to take its place, and the human fleet found itself facing the full might of the alien defenses. Humanity's tactics, unpredictable and adaptive, once again gave them the edge. The fleet darted in and out of the alien formations, using the larger alien ship size against them. Small groups of human ships darted behind enemy lines, targeting weak points in the alien fleet's defense grid, while the larger ships hammered away at the enemy's flagship and command vessels. The Terrians, with their superior technology, unleashed devastating weapons that shattered the alien fleet's shields and crippled their warships. Their energy weapons, designed to tear through the toughest of armors, proved invaluable in the battle. But even with their advanced firepower, the Terrians knew they could not win this war alone. Humanity's role was critical. They were the driving force, the spearhead that would pierce through the aliens' final defense. For hours, the battle raged, the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance. But as the alien fleet's resolve began to crumble, the humans pressed forward, ever determined to see their struggle through to the end. Nadia's voice rang through the communications network, rallying the fleet with a single command: press on. We fight for the stars. In a final, desperate attempt to turn the tide, the alien empires unleashed their ultimate weapon, a colossal superweapon, designed to destroy entire fleets in a single strike. It was their last card, a weapon that could wipe out humanity's fleet and seal their victory. But the aliens had underestimated one thing: humanity's ingenuity. The human fleet, already battle-worn, regrouped and launched a last-ditch assault on the superweapon. The Elysium, alongside the Vanguard, led the charge, pushing through the alien lines with everything they had. The alien superweapon unleashed its destructive energy, but humanity had anticipated this move. As the blast fired, the Terrian ships deployed a specialized shield that absorbed the energy long enough for the human ships to strike at its core. It was a risky maneuver, but it paid off. The superweapon exploded in a massive chain reaction, its power core detonating in a blaze of light that consumed the surrounding alien fleet. The alien forces, already battered and bruised, were now in disarray, and their command structure crumbled in the aftermath of the explosion. With their ultimate weapon destroyed and their leadership in shambles, the remaining alien warships surrendered. The final battle was won, and humanity, with its newfound allies, had secured control of the galaxy. The war was over. Humanity's rise from the ashes of a forgotten world to a galactic empire had been forged in the fires of conflict, sacrifice, and determination. The galaxy would never be the same. Earth, once a backwater planet at the edge of the galaxy, was now at the heart of an empire that spanned stars. Nadia Thornton stood on the bridge of the Elysium, looking out at the stars as the fleet celebrated their victory. The war was over, but the journey was just beginning. Humanity had proven its place in the universe, not through might alone, but through the unyielding will to survive and rise above the impossible. They had taken their place among the stars. And the galaxy would remember the day humanity rose from Earth to empire.